By Dennis Kavelman, partner in Inovia Capital, a Canadian tech venture capital firm. Dennis, thanks very much indeed for joining us.
My pleasure.
So focus on the impact on tech entrepreneurs here. You are critical of this move. You say it just means that they'll be facing a bigger capital gains tax take when they do sell the business?
Well, I mean, look, I just want to go back to some first principles. You know, we've seen Twitter blowing up. I've watched your interviews with David Dodge and Derek Holt, and the people who are watching the program, I'm sure, are all very sophisticated. I mean, in the venture tech community, Canadian founders, the universities, Creative Destruction Lab, the government, everybody's been working to build this Canadian tech ecosystem for decades. And Canada is a pretty amazing place to build a tech company. It's great for investors, great for founders, but there's that tension, and we have to keep the great grad from University of Waterloo from deciding to build their company in California, in New York, now in Austin or Miami or other jurisdictions in the world. And we've been working very hard to have great value add investors, great support, ecosystems mature. But as soon as you add a friction point to that and say, well, maybe it's not attractive to go here, why wouldn't I start a company somewhere else? We know after COVID, you can really build a company almost anywhere. It just slows down that flywheel of really building things, because we depend on, you know, the next 10,000, 20,000 person company, the next Shopify, to be here, and then have those employees grow, and the money they make, they reinvest in the ecosystem and angel invest in other companies, and so on and so on. And when you stick a stick in the spokes and stop everything or slow it down, which I real like, this isn't a hypothetical. I think this is a real point where we could see a problem.
But hasn't the government tried to mitigate the problem here? They've introduced this Canadian Entrepreneurs Initiative. It's a carve-out protecting certain types of businesses, and it would apply to up to $2 million in capital gains per an individual. So they're trying to reduce the impact on entrepreneurs here.
Yeah, they put a Band-Aid on the big flesh wound and tried to. I think what you have to understand is, you know, when we and other investors in this country and talk to founders, they want to build the next global champion. They want to build the next RIM, next Shopify, Nortel, pick your example. They're not looking on how do we make $1 million or $2 million. They're looking at how do we transform a city? How do we build the great next company in Calgary or St. John's or Waterloo? And why wouldn't I build it somewhere else if it makes more sense to do that? So I think it's too little. I see what they're trying to do. I think it's a little weird that it applies to some industries and not others. It doesn't apply to all employees. It's only the first few founders. And that's really, you know, it's the kind of Band-Aid that's not going to do much.
Well, it doesn't apply to insurance businesses, for example, or financial businesses, which seems logical. I mean, we have enough insurance companies in Canada, goodness knows. We are talking about tech companies, and they have specifically tried to protect cap gains there.
Yeah, like I said, it's $2 million. And I can tell you the kind of founders, when we look at the AI ecosystem, for example, is a massive opportunity for Canada. The companies, Cohere and others, you know, hundreds of millions, billions of market cap. I think when you look at those type of measures, you can see where this $2 million amount isn't going to change things. And like, I'm not saying $2 million is not a lot of money, but in the context of building global champions, it's not going to factor into their thought process.
But you say these entrepreneurs are trying to build global businesses. So are they also worried about the tax when they cash out? You mean that's always on the back of their mind?
Yeah, for sure. And when they're trying to hire employees, I mean, it's not just about their own pocketbook, but they have to recruit talent and build ecosystems. You know, in Canada already, you know, the pay for top engineers in Ontario is certainly less than it is in the Valley. Attracting people to work here is, you know, it can be a challenge already. We're doing a good job of mitigating that. But when you have other execs and you're trying to build that team, they're thinking about this and they factor it all in.
And of course, you're the former chief operating officer, chief financial officer at RIM. So, I mean, you are deeply embedded in Canada's tech sector. Are we falling apart? Falling behind? Are bright minds going to the States, even apart from this capital gains change?
Well, look, I think we've been doing a great job of building the ecosystem. And as I said, AI is a bright light. The Waterloo ecosystem is super strong. In Quebec, we've seen a lot, and Inovia has a major operation in Montreal, and we've seen a lot of support from investors across the board. The pension funds in Quebec are doing a great job of supporting ecosystem. We see it in Alberta. So we're winning that war, and it is a maturing ecosystem. We're doing well. The problem is, I understand the government's trying to solve some cash shortflows for a lot of spending they're doing, and this is a pretty near-term focused measure that I think is going to have some long-term problems.
Would you be okay with them putting a capital gain, or increasing the capital gains, say on second homes and art collections and stuff?
I don't know. Look, I'm sort of speaking on the tech industry. The whole tax the rich more idea. There's lots of studies on how it doesn't work in different areas. These are the people who donate to things and build businesses and invest. I think anything you do to discourage investment in a country just decreases competitiveness. Like back to your David Dodge interview, I think he used the word unfortunate about 25 times. It just makes things tougher in a country that we're really hitting our stride. Look, we're going to continue. I'm all in on Canada. My partners are all in on Canada. All of our founders want to be all in on Canada. Just they don't want one hand tied behind their backs.
Certainly. And we're going to be talking